She just wants to be the best basketball player. And she's caught up in this political deal, and she's caught up in this racial discussion, and she's dealing with Nike, an organization that got her on a bargain basement deal and is telling her, well, we're gonna wait to promote you until we're done promoting Asia Wilson. Won't even put out a Caitlyn Clark commercial, won't put out a Caitlyn Clark shoe, because Nike has decided that they must bow.
The past several years have been disastrous for Nike. They have a value that is more than $100 billion lower than it was in 2021, to the point where many people asked that their CEO be fired, which ultimately resulted in him resigning from his position. But are sports experiencing a decline in fans? No. The question is, what exactly is going on with Nike? And what exactly does Caitlyn Clark have to do with things? Having said that, there is some hopeful news. In an unusual move, Nike has secured the services of a generational athlete who has the potential to make billions of dollars. Caitlyn Clark is the latest athlete to join the ranks of Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and LeBron James. In April of this year, Caitlyn signed a contract with Nike that was worth up to $28 million over the course of 8 years. This is a deal that Nike will profit from, particularly because it includes a signature shoe model. Nike has no intention of releasing a Caitlyn Clark shoe, despite the fact that she was awarded the WNBA Rookie of the Year award unanimously. Not at all. It is clear that Nike's claimed rationale is a complete and utter fabrication. What are they trying to conceal? This narrative is about to get very insane. The marketing opportunity of a generation has presented itself to Nike, and the company is making use of it too. The first thing to note is that Caitlyn had previously signed a non-exclusive contract with Nike before to her explosion in college. The popularity of Caitlyn was so high that she became the most well-known collegiate player in the country. She was twice as popular as Angel Reese, who came in second place, and she was 4 times more popular than the player who was the most popular among males. Nothing like that has ever happened before. As soon as she began her professional career, numerous shoe brands sought her out. Adidas and Nike have also expressed interest in her, while Under Armour has announced that she will be the face of the Curry brand. Despite the fact that everyone was waiting for word on her signature sneaker, she decided to remain with Nike because of the way they promoted her while she was still in college. However, there is still no update, and even though there was one, this update is nothing but a source of amusement. After that, Asia Wilson, who had just been awarded another Most Valuable Player award, disclosed her shoe, and a shocking revelation about Caitlyn came to light. The sneaker that Wilson is working on, which started being developed in 2023, is scheduled to be released in the spring of 2025. It is possible that Clark's sneaker will be accessible in stores between the years 2026 and 2027, if this 2-year plan is followed. What is it? Is it 2027? Why does Nike do it? In addition to the production of millions of pairs and the organization of a marketing campaign, the process is sophisticated and requires the cooperation of Clark and the Nike team. In his first year of playing, he wore his own distinctive sneaker. In other words, 20 years ago, Nike was nimble enough and had the foresight to understand that, hey, let's get LeBron's sneaker out here. It is going to be a big problem if this guy wins. For some reason, they are unable to do this for Caitlyn Clark. And lo and behold, despite the fact that it was not exactly demanded by the general public, there has not been a single Nike commercial featuring Clark in her professional capacity. Permit that to sink in. No advertisement featuring Caitlyn Clark. These television ratings have increased as a result of her 4 years of being the most famous athlete in the entire sporting world. No advertisement for Nike. Now, if that is the point that Nike is making, then they are lying. When LeBron James was being signed in 2003, shoe companies were also interested in doing so. Nike, Adidas, and Reebok were all eager to sign him, and a signature shoe was at the top of their list of priorities when it came to signing him. Before he joined with Nike, the company had already begun developing his shoe. They came up with an internal code name, which was Air Zoom Nobel, which was written backwards from LeBron. This was done because they did not want the news to spread. All right, it was extremely obvious. Instead, they decided to go with the Air Zoom generation. During the time that LeBron was still in high school, Nike began the process of designing and manufacturing a sneaker for him completely without his knowledge. They intended to completely overpower him, and they were successful in doing so. During his first game in the NBA, LeBron James wore the LeBron 1S after he signed with Nike. Do you mean to tell me that Nike has become so terrible at shoe production that the process that used to take 3 months now takes 3 years? However, there is something more taking place here. While Caitlyn is breaking records while wearing Kobe's, she has not yet been featured in an advertisement for Nike. They are making a concerted effort to avoid bringing anyone's attention to her. At the end of the day, could this have been the idea? Do you want to get her to sign one of the longest deals ever and then put her to the side because Nike is concentrating on selling something else? This is A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson, the most valuable player in the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, and a Nike athlete, is the subject of conversations with people who are in the know. The peculiar Wilson, on the other hand, is a representation of the culture of the firm, which is more concerned with reducing noise than it was with producing it in the past, as Nike used to do. Ethan Strauss, a well-connected and well-known journalist, stated on Substack that based on conversations with insiders, it is certainly related to A'ja Wilson, who is a Nike athlete and winning the Most Valuable Player award in the Women's National Basketball Association. Is that true? That is what it would be. Following the signing of Caitlyn's $28 million contract with Nike, there was a great deal of criticism on various social media platforms. Indeed, a prominent newspaper even published a headline about it. As per reports, Caitlyn Clark is going to get her very own shoe. I will explain why people are so outraged. The fact that Caitlyn has her own shoe is a positive move for women's basketball. According to the story, nonetheless, the reporting on the arrangement has caused displeasure among supporters of the sport. What exactly is the issue? According to the assertions of a few fans, the only WNBA players that wore distinctive shoes were white. There were a lot of individuals who thought that A'ja Wilson, who plays for the Las Vegas Aces, ought to have been given her own shoe before Clark, who hadn't even played a single WNBA game yet. Perhaps this was enough to deter Nike. That's not to say that Caitlyn isn't good at basketball, rather it's that she isn't very good at it. Is it a racist opinion? As opposed to focusing on what creates money, why would Nike care about fairness? And to make matters even worse, why would Nike even consider a compromise? Doesn't this provide further evidence that it is, in fact, a racial motivation? They could have avoided making such a huge deal out of it if they had simply moved on in the most profitable way possible. An outstanding connection between Allen Iverson and Tim Duncan was subsequently drawn by Ethan in his work, which was published later. Although Duncan was undeniably the better player, Iverson was able to dominate shoe sales, and nobody seemed to have any complaints about the injustice. In point of fact, Nike conducted 2 separate tests on the Tim Duncan shoes before ultimately deciding to discontinue them due to the lack of demand for them. Do you know that didn't give a damn? It is Timothy Duncan. However, if A'ja Wilson were to be like Duncan, then the circumstances surrounding Caitlyn Clark might be different. But they are not. It is appropriate for A'ja to take pleasure in being advertised by Nike. The majority of people have the desire to be included in advertisements and on billboards. Additionally, it is profitable. In addition to this, it seems that she is promoting the notion that it is racist. As she watched another white athlete, Paige Bucker, she shared with her teammate Kelsey Plum what she had to say about the situation. It's a lot of you that Paige reminds me of. It's not really about me, let's be honest. She is very aware of the ways in which her privilege has led her to that position. Additionally, she is aware of the privileges she enjoys, despite the fact that she is a talented basketball player. One of Plum's responses was, "Thank you." A'ja's response, on the other hand, suggests that Paige's affluent lifestyle has helped catapult her to the top. Without a doubt, she is also an outstanding basketball player. It is not. What is it? If A'ja is the most successful female athlete associated with Nike, they do not want to bother her. Imagine the amount of criticism that would have been directed on Caitlyn if Nike had provided her with a sneaker with immediate effect. Even Caitlyn Clark's coach did not have a positive opinion of her. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, tweeted about the first preseason game, which featured Caitlyn in a significant role. On the other hand, the coach of the Lynx in USA stated that there are other teams competing tonight besides Caitlyn Clark, among other things. With the W, there are multiple players. The adoption of the hashtag by a WNBA coach and an Olympic coach was met with dissatisfaction from the public. It is the preseason debut of a 22-year-old that has a grown woman in a state of rage. However, that was not the only thing that happened. It should come as no surprise that Caitlyn was not included in the Team USA selection. Explain the reasoning for the decision. Therefore, she had not yet earned it. Of course, that is not envy. Basketball is the option to go with. After that, Caitlyn was selected for the first team of all WNBA players as a rookie. She She led all rookies in points, field goals made, assists, steals, and minutes played. And she also led all players in assists and three-pointers made. In the voting for MVP, she finished in 4th place. More than 1 million people watched her games on television, despite the fact that the average number of people who watch a WNBA game is approximately 300,000. When compared to the total cost of all previous WNBA playoff games, the price of a ticket to her first playoff game was higher. The Washington Mystics recently played home to Caitlyn's team, the Indiana Fever. In order to accommodate all of the fans, the Mystics were forced to move their game to the Wizards Arena, which consequently set a new record for the number of people that attended a WNBA game. Consequently, in spite of all the hoopla, she is truly that wonderful. It was subsequently acknowledged by Team USA that the decision to exclude her from the roster had been a mistake. Then what about Nike then? Is it true that they are hesitant to give Caitlyn Clark her own sneaker because they are afraid of the reaction that will occur on social media? Are you of the opinion that it is not hard to understand why the CEO is required to resign? Post your opinions in the comments section below and I will get back to you.